Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First Partner here with our favorite Crispy. I'm pretty sure everybody could probably say that. Um, how the hell are you, man? It's been a little bit.
It's good. I'm like a couple pounds lighter because I chopped my hair off. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been weird to see a
Yeah,
reaction.
you definitely did. I'll just share that I did have a reaction when I saw it. I wasn't sure how to put it into words. But I think you're just a genuinely, like, good-looking human being, so I think whatever your hair looks like, you're gonna be alright.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
Um,
I leverage it.
yeah, for sure, and, uh, I'm gonna just take advantage of this time today to, like, maybe get a little bit of, free consulting from you, because I have some thoughts on this whole AI transformation that,
Mm,
like, I think everyone's total addressable market right now, if you're focused on AI transformation, is 100%
yep.
of the world. Um, and what the vibe is that we've got a bunch of leaders, you know, um, like pointing to the studies and the things where things are failing, and like either way, making some fairly rational decisions about whether or not to invest in AI infrastructure. Um, and I think right now it's more often a no, uh, but I anticipate by the end of the summer it's going to turn into a yes. It's still going to be irrational, but it's going to be more yeses. And there's just not a lot of people around
Mm,
to, like, help people out.
mhm.
Like, does that track with what you're seeing out there right now?
Yes, definitely.
How do you plan for the irrational yes? Because the reason I say that word, when it's irrational, we we can't show up with, like, rational playbooks and thoughts and words to try and move these individuals, right? So
Mhm.
as you think about, like, the pipeline and just oh, predictability. What a fun word right now. How, like, if that's what you're seeing, like, what are you thinking about in the actions you're taking right now versus, like, which you gotta be ready for that moment when they all start turning to yeses, right?
Yeah. I have a belief that HubSpot partner land, if you want to remain relevant in this ecosystem, there is this belief that you have to be technically fluent in all platforms, including AI. And the thing that happens is as we try to remain technically fluent, we increase the gap between what the market is ready for and what we think we're ready to deliver as a service. And there's a massive disconnect there. And the thing that I'm seeing as a result of it is people are unable to deliver AI as a service because they're going to the running or sprinting stage of a crawl, walk, run approach with the end market that is maybe not ready for AI at that level yet. And they're bypassing the steps of like, a lot of companies still need a CRM. You know what I mean? They're not ready for AI at that advanced level yet. So the things that I'm thinking about are, and if this goes out to anyone who's thinking about AI transformation, it's you need to create pathways within AI transformation as a service for people that are at like a 101 level or a 201 level or a 301 level, because there's a giant matrix of industries and companies that are not ready for AI but could benefit from it heavily at an entry level standpoint, being basic data manipulation, transformation at like a root level. And then there's others that are ready for agentic builds to replace teams. There are some companies that are ready for that, but not all companies. And so I would narrow the target focus to, I mean, I'm not a big believer in the way HubSpot fucking pushes the find a niche, find an industry, blah, blah, blah with their fucking PDMs, because HubSpot's like a pretty agnostic platform for the most part. But in this use case, if you're doing AI transformation, it probably makes sense to find a niche, find a market, find an industry that you can have you can begin a transformational journey inside of with AI.
Yeah. It's huge. Like, and I, um, kind of testing this narrative of, because all of us are just trying to find the keywords right now, and like the challenge is it's like human dependent, org dependent, AI maturity dependent. Like you've never seen anything like it. Where like if you think it's gonna be a minute before we figure out a standardized approach other than just ask the right questions at the right time, which hopefully that's not news to a lot of people. But when you
Mhm,
see the frontier labs themselves investing in this consulting layer, like take some solace that one, nobody's figured this out yet, and everybody's going through it. Two, that money they're investing is at like Fortune 500, like is going
yeah,
to be focus. They don't spend $10 billion to focus on like small, medium business or even mid market. And um, so this so the concept of like finding these pains that have always existed and turning them into valuable things for the org. And one of those is like tribal knowledge, right? Always seen as a risk, and it's one of the reasons to digitize and systematize stuff. But when you just bring in AI to replace that person, and you don't transfer the tribal knowledge, guess what? AI is not going to do shit like for
mhm,
you. So to get the attention of leaders, like moving from tribal knowledge to human domain expertise, right? Like everybody in the org, no matter their level, no matter how long they've been there, they have some kind of expertise that's specific to them and their experience and what they know in the context. And that's totally agree that the niche, right? If you can't use like exact words right now when trying to explain the value of AI or the value of getting data ready, for AI. If you're not from that space, like or that vertical or whatever the niche happens to be, it's so easy to use the wrong words and just either turn off the conversation or overpromise in ways that you have no idea you're overpromising in,
mhm,
right?
yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how to build these solutions from the partner side. There are lots of scenarios that I've seen I've run into, even this like recently, past week, past 2 weeks, where there's this vicious cycle that I've seen that is carrying over from the CRM world, where people think you need enterprise tier of everything with HubSpot. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, you're not solving for the customer by doing that. You need to solve for the customer and what they need, right? And a lot of things that I'm seeing is people are doing that same thing with AI, where it's you need a custom built platform to create your agents. You need these crazy custom solutions to solve for this very basic use case, and then prep you to advance you to, the 201 level, 301 level. And it's not the right way to do things, and it's creating this experience for the customer where it's forced evolution, which I think is bad, because it means that the process and the adoption and the enablement and the belief in whatever the solution is not as powerful as what it would be through an organic evolutionary process of using AI. There's a big difference between those, because it feels good to the business and it's adopted by other internal users actively, versus we're going to shove this down your throat and you got to get used to it and it's part of your job now. Adoption doesn't happen like that.
It's like surprise,
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
And yet, and this is where it's like, I'm so thankful for AI being here because this was the only solve to how SaaS like operates.
Hmm.
Because like that adoption certainly doesn't come from, and even when it does, it fails. And we're seeing that all over the place when you go AI first, like that phrase. You're
Yeah.
either going to piss a bunch of people off or you're going to try and replace all those people and just go about it the wrong way. Agentic led. Like, can we find more ways to piss off the humans that need to be like helping with this and then be
Yeah.
surprised? Like, oh my gosh, 47% of people are sabotaging AI projects. I can't even believe. Like, come on, folks.
Yeah.
And so it's like exacerbates all of the things in terms of like the culture needs to be right. It needs to be a safe space to experiment. The only way I'm like the only way to learn AI is building with it. Like like find a problem to solve and build an AI something, like build with AI to solve that problem in the moment. Um, and most people are not empowered to make decisions like that, right?
I totally agree with you, and you're hitting like a sweet spot of something that I always talk about, which is AI is doing two things. One is it's making the mediocre people more mediocre. It's exposing the fact that they're fucking idiots at what they do. And these are the people that use AI to make their decisions for them, which is completely wrong. It's the wrong way to do it. So the beauty, like the plus side to this is those that are, you mentioned like AI first before, those that are AI enabled, that top level of whatever that business has, those people that are using AI to functionally replace the monotonous part of their job, those are the ones that will be successful. And it's used to help make decisions, not make the decisions for you. In that case, you should be replaced by AI because AI is literally doing every function of your job. Number two is the general level or skill set that we can expect to see in the next 5 to 10 years is going to go down. People are getting stupider with AI. And it's really weird because you would think that I now have access to these platforms that have unbelievable resources and I can answer any question in a split second. But now people are resorting to the path with the least resistance, which is I have a problem, I'm going to let AI solve it instead. Which there's a certain, there's a threshold, there's a balance between that, which is you only learn through strife and solving problems and overcoming the obstacles. Those are the skill sets that most high performing businesses want to see is can you solve problems and use your resources to enable you to do that? And what I'm seeing now is the quality of the next generation of business operators is going to be worse than what it is now because they're not going to have to go through the struggle of figuring things out without access to a platform that can make decisions for them.
Yeah. And like again, no problem pointing the finger at SaaS on stuff like this. Like this whole like out of the box mentality, plug and play, like we don't want our users to have to think. Guess what? They're gonna keep not thinking.
Mhm.
And even when they've tried to think, this is where it's like the leadership perspective of if you view it as tribal knowledge and risk and key person risk and like get annoyed, like you will solve it in that way and it's not going to work like for you because there is something that that human is probably doing. The context, like that's like human domain expertise in a nutshell is being able to like configure and curate context in any given moment with anything that's happening in your space right now.
Mhm.
So when you think you can come in and do 100% automation or autonomous things, like it fails. And like, in the curve of the effort that it takes to get that last 5% done, you have humans right there, right? That if you can shift the perspective, because it's and so often it's tribal knowledge because there's a level of learned helplessness because I had some good ideas when you first delivered this software. I'm not empowered to do it. It's going to take IT 6 months to fix it. So I just hear no over and over, and I'm not going to ask to make things. I don't, it's not, and I'm not incentivized to think critically about the job that I have to do. So now you deliver AI, especially when it's in the form of Microsoft Copilot. Yeah, I'm just going to use it to write my emails for me and do them a little bit faster, probably a little bit longer because I'm
Mhm.
not paying attention to them. And it's just this cycle. Meanwhile, it's never been easier to add ridiculous levels of capability to any human being, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that, man, it always comes back to culture, leadership, stuff like that. Um, we got so if you're to see that, and a leader is like tells you they get it, they know they need to transition, and they seem to sincerely want the help. Like, meanwhile, buying expectations and buyer expectations, like it's got to be now. It's got to like we can't do discovery. Like we get it. Where do you start with a leader that's like not trying to just get more leads, but actually trying to move the business forward into this transformation?
Mm. I mean, I think asking the why is a big driving factor. If you're driven by fear, where it's all my competitors are using AI, I think that's a different reason than something that's more compelling. Like I know that I'm losing revenue because I have this problem set that I know is solvable with AI. Those are two different pathways that I would take. I think that the starting point would be, what are the root causes of the problems that you experience in the business, and then using AI as a solution to solve those, if it makes sense to do so. Not using AI to solve all of those problems is the important difference. So it's not that different from what like a CRM implementation would be. A lot of end users or end customers are only able to communicate their pain in the way that they understand it. A lot like a symptom, where it's, oh, like my chest hurts or whatever it is. And they think I have cancer is what they think. It's like, no, you like, let's drill into it. We are, it's our responsibility, as service providers in this tech space, to diagnose root cause and figure out why symptoms are happening because of a root cause. And I think the same thing applies here whenever you're figuring out what the AI strategy looks like. It's, what are the fundamental business problems that we can solve with AI? And if it's solvable with AI, great. If there's a better solution that's not AI focused, great. We want to solve for the customer as much as we possibly can. So I would start there, with the important note being, I think that AI is not enabling us to solve for the customer as much as what we were before. AI is a scapegoat and a go-to for a lot of things that we are finding in terms of business problem sets. And it's just the, oh, AI can solve that. AI can solve that. That's the go-to default answer for everyone. Should AI solve that is the big question we need to start asking ourselves.
Yeah, I love that so much. I was watching like a webinar a month or so ago from the industrial space, from a data provider, and this is why it's like there's so much opportunity if you want to, if you're a consultant, coach, partner that wants to tackle this in a better way, right? Because if like it's never been easier to do that if you know how to use AI and then talk to other humans, about these things that matter, as opposed to the KPIs that your CFO might want to see on a dashboard. Um, and I asked the question because it was like an industry survey of their customers and like what are people doing with AI, things like that. And I asked the question of like how can leaders start talking to their teams in a way to get ideas, like ask frontline teams, right, for different things that they can do with AI. And they went right to um the problem focused approach. Um and my immediate issue with that, and I went and had a long conversation with Claude about it, was like you miss on the opportunity.
Mm,
You miss out on opportunities when you focus there. Like if, or here's the phrase, like fall in love with the problem, right? And it's, if you're falling in love with the problem, do you have the space to also fall in love with opportunity and capability, right? unlikely, because that's where the frontline team, and this is the kind of stuff like my last in-house role, you would ask the the order management team in that case, like, some ideas they have for increasing customer experience. Like, I was brought in to lead from a customer experience perspective, and they say things like, "It'd be cool to, like, send it in, like, a gift package to, like, new customers." But when they say it out loud and they're spending all day, like, doing order entry, it's, like, unfathomable that that could ever be possible,
Mhm.
right? Now it's possible, right? You have to update systems and stuff like that, but that's where the human now, they have that idea. They can use all that context to create that gift package, help AI agents get built to support that whole process while not impacting like daily stuff. Like there's so much opportunity like that. And when you're so focused on the problem and don't ask, should, you're going to miss stuff like that. And then there's no surprise that the CFO AI ROI dashboard is showing a loss because you're not doing anything to fill in the gap with the time saved and the efficiencies and all that.
Mm.
Um, are you seeing any um, like outside the box thinking, for lack of a better phrase, in terms of like, oh, now that this is here, I would imagine you guys help. It's one of the primary things you guys would help with.
Mhm.
What's hitting as far as like finding the right recommendation that doesn't feel like it's 10 years away?
Yeah, it's really this is a great question. It's really interesting because the thing that's working for us most when it comes to the AI transformation is going on site and watching the process live.
Yes.
It's really strange. Like I've been gone, I think every other week for the past like 6 or 7 weeks. And it's strange because I think what ends up happening, and this is my hypothesis. I was talking to my friend about this last night. I think that AI transformation and digital transformation overall historically has been a very reactive type of service where someone, a business owner or a leader, C-suite, whatever, thinks that, man, I need some help here. We're not using technology, we're not using AI, stuff like that. And that person begins deep diving into use cases of where it can help. And then it results in them engaging with a provider for AI transformation or digital transformation. And from the service standpoint, it's a reactive process because they only focus on those areas and they don't focus on the things that you can proactively help with and solve that are deeper than what this customer is flagging. Again, it goes back to the symptoms versus root cause thing. You can tackle symptoms or you can tackle root cause. Root cause is way more powerful and has way more impact in the business. So the thing that we've seen that works for us is literally going on site and seeing the process live with people. As in, what do you do? What conversations happen outside of your desktop? What buttons do you click to engage with this process? And what is the real time thing that I can like see and hear in front of my face? That has been what's working for us massively, which is very, very, very strange. This is not something that we thought was going to pay off. We made a bet on this back in February and it's been working. People are returning to wanting to do in-person things, on-site things, and the AI transformation stuff is a huge, huge component of that.
Yeah. It's the only way to truly understand like 100% of the context,
Exactly.
right? And my first like, man, smack in the face with this was when I was trying to figure out this again at the role, same place
Mhm.
that wants to knows that they could take better care of the customers. They know exactly how they would do it. But we have this ERP system where we can't report on it effectively, and it doesn't even make sense how we would connect it to HubSpot. And this problem with line items came up, right? And if I wasn't there to watch people communicate with each other and then see that the ERP was getting built based on like what this stack of papers looked like that had post-it notes, that had different color, writing and notes everywhere. And like that's where the documentation is just a formality. The real communication happens when I bring it to your desk and then I tell you,
Yep.
right? And when you don't know that, and this is where like again, so much opportunity for if you're used to working in SaaS, besides the fact that like just showing up as another human being looking like you want to help, like probably a good plan. You cannot, and it's I think it's because like context management, it's like built into our DNA and our brains, and we don't know that we're doing it,
Mhm.
but we definitely are. And that's if you cannot reproduce that in your AI system, like no chance. So if we see that as an opportunity, maybe we could wrap on like what um you know, I have to get too behind the curtain, but what are people probably doing that was supposedly a best practice that can make space for going to see people in person in like all of the systems that require like guess what? Like it's even that you can now with all these AI tools, but
Mhm.
having the microphone on and like capturing the entire conversation,
Mhm.
right? Like what's a tip for folks out there that this makes sense to and they want to fit it in?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, I have a couple. One is I think people view the on-site thing as a weird thing to ask for or like a burden on the customer. And in reality, this is a competitive offering that most other companies do not take advantage of. Like if you think about Deloitte or any other big, Accenture or whatever it is, they do on-site for all of their clients, all of them. It's a part of their scope with every engagement that they have. And so if you want to model yourself after, a very, very successful consultancy like that, offer this in the beginning, especially when you're doing AI transformation, because you can do live building as well. It's quicker value to customer. And so I would focus it around why it's better for the customer if they're looking for speed to value or immediate change. If you're doing something on site, you get the immediate context and you can build live. Whereas if you're doing a remote, it is super hard to do that. It's super hard to get the right people in the room and figure out the entire context. And then you build afterward and lose context. So my tip would be don't be afraid to ask for it, number one. Number two is explain the value of it in the sense of if someone's looking for speed to value, on site is the absolute best way to do that. Absolute best way.
Let's talk to customers now, or buyers or people needing to transform
Mhm.
that have been taught that that's not required to build technology. What maybe what should they be looking for, or how do they like give themselves permission to ask for that? And if they are asking for that, what should they make sure that people are doing if we all like block time and take trips and like what is the customer's responsibility to make sure that visit is successful?
Yeah, I think the big one is uh, be ruthlessly honest with what your process is, even if it's fucked up. That's the thing that I find the most is that they're not, or they think that they understand the process, but whenever I talk to the actual executors of the process, it is wildly different from what leaders think it is. So have this assumption that you're working from ground zero and that your understanding of the process and the thing that you want to achieve is skewed based upon your viewpoint because 100% of the time it usually is. So having a level set mind basically is the best way to do it. And number two is think about this as a foundation of a house. You need to set the foundation first before you get to the roof. And most people want to start at the roof and work their way down. It does not work like that. It is a progressive process that needs to have built-in progression into it in order to be successful and scale with you. You do not want to start by sprinting. You want to start by crawling.
Yeah. And like no matter how good you think your foundation might be, you never had to build AI on
Yes.
top of it.
Mhm.
So I love, like, out the gate, giving permission to folks involved in the conversation, like, hey, like, whether it's us saying something or how your process works, everybody
Mhm.
has permission to raise their hand and be like, I don't know why we can do it that way. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
Like, please, especially when there's a leader in the room, like, for the frontline user, right?
Mhm.
Because that's often like, oh, well, I don't want to, like, throw shade at anybody else, or I don't wanna highlight the fact that I do this kind of workaround stuff, like, just to get my there's so many reasons why you can't get the true context of the situation, and that stuff's impossible to get, like, if you're
Yep.
not on site, like, looking and just being present with the human beings. Like, so
Mhm.
that's what I would say, like, if you're gonna take the time to invite somebody in and even to pay for their trip. By the way, so worth it. Like, this should you should pay for this stuff because 'cause you're
Yes.
gonna get so much value by that time that we're spending with you. But if you do that, like, be present, like, prioritize this, have the right people in the room. I think in most cases when somebody does invest in the time, like, usually don't have to worry about this, but it's so easy to just, "Oh, we got a fire today." And it's like, you gotta like, should we reschedule then?
Mhm.
Like, because if you're not present and thinking about all the ways that you make decisions throughout the day, like, it's just not gonna be as valuable as it could be.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh That's good to hear that you've been traveling around, and I'm not surprised that, you're being received well. Um, and it's been a great conversation. I appreciate, the point of view, and I again, people that are trying to fit in value first, but, I hear it so randomly nowadays on different podcasts. It's like, you just show up and provide value. That's how you're gonna win.
Yeah.
Like, and there's never been a better technology, than AI to help you do that, but you have to define what value is for
Yep.
you, for your clients. So, I appreciate you, brother, and, we'll see everybody next time. Thanks so much.